She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. And now, here's Reverend Sue.
Got joy in my soul. God is in control. I got Satan on my trail, but I'm singing all is well. He's attacking every day, but I'm watching while I pray. No matter the attack, I won't turn back.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us this evening. We have a dynamic speaker and a dynamic woman with us this evening. And she is, I call her Reverend Christian Aaron. And you perhaps probably knew her as still Reverend Christian B. Brown Aaron. And I like her. I like her from the standpoint is because she is a, we use the word strong. I don't want to say strong. She is a powerful woman. Not in the word of God. And almost everything that she does demonstrates her relationship with God. She is the author of 2 books. And she's going to talk a little bit about those books. I'm not going to go into it. And also, she has been doing women's conferences for over 5 or 6 years in the metropolitan area. She's an RN, and she's an ordained clergy. She's a graduate of Wesley Theological Seminary here in Washington, D.C. I can go on and on and on. Excuse me for my voice. I thank God that I'm healed from COVID. I've been out there and isolated. I'm so happy. I might just jump all over the place today. This is the first time really recording, and I am happy that I can talk and I can speak and I can shout. So, Reverend Aaron, thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Truly.
And it is so much going on. I know that you're getting ready to do a conference, but we want to talk about that just a little bit. But right now, you're the author of 2 books. And what motivated you to write these books, Rise and Shine, and also Single is Not a Sin? I know I'm not single, but I read it anyway, because I want to pass on to all the single men and women out here.
Yes.
So just a little bit about what has motivated you to really get into the writing of trying to help women as well as men.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, I started Rise from a very low place. I was in seminary and I just did not understand how God led me from nursing, and now I'm in ministry. And at the time, it didn't make sense. And he said, Christian, in order for you to rise, you must fall. And I was at such a low place where the only thing I could do was to rise and to really embrace what God had for me. And so after I went through that season, I wrote a devotional book that was placed on my heart, Rise and Shine, understanding that God is the centrality of your life. And it was God that brought me through that season. It was God that led me to seminary. And so I wrote the book and I just saw the impact that it had. And then I wrote the second book because I just saw how so many singles were just really down and out. They were depressed. They were questioning themselves, their worth. And I said, okay, single is not a sin. Even when you spell out single, it's S-I-N. And I said, single is not a sin. So as you're waiting for God to bring whomever he has for you, how do you really think about your family tree? How do you view finances? How have you healed? Do you go to a therapist? What do you like to do for fun? Who are you bringing to the table when God allows that person to walk in your life? And so that was something that I actually wrote it while I was single, and I married maybe 2 years afterwards, but it's during the inner reflection of self before you can say that you're adding to someone else's life.
That's good. That is so good. And, okay. Within the church, we have women ministries. And most churches, we have women ministry. And we have organization that actually focus on women. And then we have women conferences. Yeah. And lately, there's so many conferences related to women.
Mm-hmm.
What's and I'm a woman. Yeah, that's all. What's going on?
Yeah.
That now we are every person, every other person wants to focus on the women. We're talking about women books, women writing books about themselves, women speaking on behalf of women. Is that oversaturated, or is that what the feeling is happening out here in the universe?
Yeah, that is a great question because initially you attract who you are. So we're women in ministry. Of course, women, young girls are going to be attracted to us. And at first, I wanted to be different. Okay, I don't want to just have a women's ministry. I don't want to just have retreats for women. I don't want, but then God began to speak to me and he said, Christian, when it comes to pay, there's inequality for women. When it comes to marriage or dating, there's so many things that women have to internalize and rationalize through. When it comes to not trying to save the world, having this savior complex, right? There's so many things that women go through, and we can speak to it. And so when I realized the safe space when collaboration happens and there's not competition, there's healing when women are united in the room. There is breakthrough, there is sisterhood, there is accountability. And so once I got married, I realized, wow, there are some things that my husband will not understand. I'm the only girl of 6 boys. There are some things that I go through as a woman that my brothers who love me dearly do not understand. And so I don't have to shy away from women's ministry. The question is, what is the vision for the space? Are we just here to talk, or are we here to rise? Are we just here to wear outfits and to put on makeup, or are we here to talk about purpose and how we can shift our mindsets and our lives? And so I think no matter the room, as long as you understand the vision of why you're gathering, then God can work through that.
I love it. I really, really like that because I think about I talk to men and women, and men, some men say, well, okay, there is a women group again. There is. Do you see that? And I don't want this to happen because I agree with you. There's so many things. When you talk about professional women, you also talk about women do not have a job.
Right.
You talk about women, the lack of health care for women. So with the men, do you see there's a conflict there when we talk about the women doing the conferences? The women are answer to so many questions that we have out here in the universe now. Do you see men feeling that they are not a part of this? Or how could they be a part of it? Question. How could they be a part of, or do they have absolutely nothing to fear because we are trying to get ourselves together?
The first thing that comes to mind is that women are unafraid to discuss their needs and their desires. So if they are in need of sisterhood, if they are in need of going out for girls' night, they're going to express it. Henceforth, there is a plethora of options and things that we can do because we verbalize our needs. Now, I wish there were more men who would let down their guard and to express, wow, I would love to have a men's meetup at church, or I would love to have a men's Bible study at my home, or I would love to have a group of men discussing their favorite beyond sports, right? Because we can talk about sports and men rally around it, but I would love to see where men are encouraged to share their desires, to share their needs, and to be unafraid to gather in spaces like women do, right? To really address what they need in their life. And so when I see the conferences and I see women meeting up, I don't say, oh, here's another group of women. I say, here are women who understand what they need in this season of their life, and they're going after it. So I praise that.
Going back to churches and women ministry, do you see that there could be an improvement in what we do in the church as far as women ministry? Or that's a general broad question, but how do you feel about that? Because is it sometimes that we just think that we have to immediately have a women ministry and not think it through?
So sometimes I do feel that churches are oversaturated with ministries, whether it is men's, women, children, youth. But I think that once again, it goes down to the need of the people. And if there's a need for women, if there's women that are gathering, there's an identified leader because the pastor can't do it all, then I say, why not? But I would say, even if there is a church that has a phenomenal women's conference and is sold out every year, I do not think that God is a God of complacency. We can always get better. We can
Mhm.
always thrive. We can always find ways to reach more non-believers. And so whether there is an established women's ministry or whether there is one that can grow, I think to say women who are the backbone of church, women who give over 70% of funding for churches, to say that they are not allowed space, I think that that is problematic. But it does not have to be a gender specific ministry. It's
Mhm.
what does the congregation need? Who can lead it? And how do we get the word out there? So
Mhm.
so yeah, I think women's ministry, I think to be completely honest, I think sometimes it has become um robotic. This is what we do every year.
Mhm.
But my prayer for women's ministry is to be prayerful about, Lord, what do the women need in 2023? I know we did this thing 5 years in a row, but what
Mhm.
do they need today? What are they struggling with today? And that's how we should operate our ministries, not based off of what we've done in the past.
Very good. Then that leads back to the excitement of you getting ready to do a conference. And this conference, you have been doing it for over 5 years. Can you talk? Just give us some information in reference to your conference because I'm excited about it. Yeah.
I am excited. So,
Mhm.
Reverend Sue, you know that I worked in nursing and I was a pediatric nurse for quite some time. And also, as you stated earlier, went to seminary. And how God made sense of these two worlds was holistic empowerment. And so back in 2017, I did my first retreat, just seeing the needs of women. It was actually a 3-day weekend retreat. And I just wanted to pour into the lives of women. We had pastors there, we had women ministers there, we had moms, sisters. We just realized the importance of community and slowing down to be rejuvenated. And so at the top of every year in January, as we're setting these goals and we're talking about what we want to get done, we just came off of Thanksgiving, we just came off of Christmas, and so many of us are depleted. So, my retreats are a space for women that are not just concerned about goals, but are concerned about actions, concerned about building a new lifestyle, concerned about sustainability throughout their year. And so we go to West River, Maryland, and it's right off of the water. It's very peaceful. I'm very prayerful about the speakers. So very honored to have you, Reverend Sue, speaking about generational coming together through generation. And so the retreat is called Activate. And what I believe is
Mhm.
that God is ready to activate some things inside of us. We've gone through COVID. Many of us have shifted jobs, we've changed churches, we've moved to different cities, our families have expanded. So many things have happened over the last 2 years, which has caused us to be to pause. But now I feel like God is saying it's time to go. It's time to run with that vision. It's time to run with your clarity. It's time to start that business. It's time to give back to your community. No more waiting. It's time to
Mhm.
activate.
Mhm.
So Activate is a place where women are going to come together. We're going to pour into each other. We're going to pray over one another, and we're going to activate the gifts that God has placed uniquely on the inside of us.
And so you're going to activate.
Amen. And the beauty about activation is you don't have to go out and look for that which has to be activated. It's already there. So to activate something, your passion, your purpose, your gifts is already there, but sometimes it becomes dormant. You have to, you have to dust yourself off. You have to blow the dust off. You have to shine it back up, and you have to really get your self-confidence back in the new year. And so it's not like we're searching for who we are. We are already gifted. We're already beautiful. We're already talented. It is time to just activate it. It's already there.
It's already there.
Already there.
I like that. Do you see a difference now from we were really into the COVID 2 years, not going out, not doing too much of anything, and you're constantly talking to communicating with women every single day. Do you see that there is a change now as well, excitement, or having 2 years to sit and think about who am I? Who am I? And
That is
answer questions. Yes. Can
that
we
is
talk about that for a few seconds? Yeah, sure.
absolutely. I see now fearless women, right? I think before COVID that we were on autopilot. We were doing
Mhm.
things because we've done it for so long and we felt as if this was the trajectory that life gave us. And then we had to pivot. We had to pivot in so many ways, whether professionally, mentally, socially. And so right now, I see women who are ready. I see people who've left their jobs and pursued that passion they never thought that they could do. I've seen people go outside of their borders and live in countries and different states that would have probably brought fear upon them, right? And so what I see now are people that are clear on their passions. They have clarity in their life. They have ironed out the kinks and they've really downsized, whether it's friendships, whether is their home. They've really had this cleansing of this is what I need. This is the path that I want. This is how I'm going to protect my time. This is how I'm going to protect my energy. This is what's good for my mental health. And they're fearless about it. And so I think that COVID slowed us down and also made us realize that life is not guaranteed and you have to live every single day with purpose
Mhm.
because the unexpected does happen, but you have to control what you can control, which is waking up every single day saying, I want to give my best in my life, in my health, in my marriage, in my purpose, in my community, at my church, whatever you're gifted to do. I see people doing it with a bit more passion now.
At your conference, you planning to have like a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a therapist there when we talk about mental health. We know that more people are becoming depressed, more people are committing suicide. Will you address that particular issue at the conference?
So at the conference last year, I know mental health was something that, because I poll my risers to see what it is they want to talk about, and mental health was something that was like number one. And so I did have a clinical psychologist to come in. Her name is Dr. Hodge, and her platform is Slay Your Anxiety, and she really slayed it, y'all. And so she is someone that I constantly refer out. So this year, when I was doing my polls, mental health was not number one, but holistic empowerment. So we talked about women were talking about
Mhm.
how do I gain my confidence back?
Mhm.
How do I build my brand?
Mhm.
How do I start that business? How do I build a community of consumers? Because they're ready to go. They're fired up. So I don't have a therapist there, but me being a holistic coach, I do have practices and breathing exercises that I
Mhm.
will use to center ourselves because, like you said, that the mindset and mental health affects how we can even show up to a retreat and receive
Mhm.
all that God has for us. So we have to be mentally clear and resilient to receive that.
Okay, tell us again, exactly again, one more time, where the conference is going to be held again.
Yes, 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 yes.
And how, if your people are interested, how can they now register for your conference?
Absolutely. So this is a conference, no matter your age, no matter your race. I want all women, young girls in the building. Well, you have to be over 18. I will say that. So anyone over 18, but the retreat is January 28th from 8 to 4. Food is included. And if you are interested, head on over to my website, www.risewithchristian.com. And on there, you will see the speakers, you will see the sessions, you will see some of the breakouts. We have prizes. Like it's going to be so, so, so amazing. It's in West River, Maryland. So whether you're in the DMV, you can definitely commute there and it's going to be an amazing time. The retreat is called Activate.
Okay. Do you have other means of transportation, or this would be private transportation?
Well, currently, most people are just driving themselves, but there have been a few women that have reached out to me. So I am coordinating travel for them because I want them to be in the building. And that's what sisters do. We figure it out and we collaborate and make it happen.
We thank you again for taking the time to be with us. And your books are also on Amazon. How can you receive your two books that you have?
Yes, Single is Not a Sin and Rise and Shine are on Amazon, but they're also on my website, www.risewithchristian.com. And you can see my books and my shirts there. And I also have some freebies on my website.
What just one thing that you can just leave with us for 2023? Just one powerful statement.
Yeah, there's a quote that I absolutely love by Maya Angelou, and it says, "You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them." So, we have this new year energy. It won't be a year filled of perfection, but control what you can control and do not be reduced by the shortcomings, the pivots, and the unexpected moments of this year. So just whatever you do, continue to rise, continue to move forward, and know that God is with you.
And with that, Happy New Year.
Right.
We thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And you're one of the people in my life that I really care so much about, and you're doing so much, and it's so meaningful. And I always say for women as well as men. This is a women conference, but what we learn and what we do and how we do things, we pass it on to our family.
Wow.
It's the women and men. So we thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. You're listening to Sunday Evening with Reverend Sue. And may God bless you and Happy New Year. Take care. Okay? Take care of yourself. Right. And I see you on the 28th.
On the 28th.
On the 28th at 8 o'clock a.m. until 4 p.m. Thank you. You're listening to Sunday Evening with Reverend Sue. And may God bless you and Happy New Year. Take care. Okay? Take care of yourself.